All right. Thank you all once again for being a part of this Werewolf Technical Steering Committee meeting for the 20th of May. That is the right date, right? Yeah, 2026. Um, We've got a relatively short agenda today, and some of these could go like almost infinitely deep, but we probably won't actually go through all issues and things and try and assign them. But I just wanted to get them in front of people, and I'll continue to work on getting things prioritized and assigned out. But before then, we'll talk about the now complete version 4.7 release and our upcoming conference participation, which I only just added to the agenda. So Rose, I'll see if you have anything more to say about that. And then I have made some changes to our milestones in GitHub, so I'll talk about that and why, and then we can look at some pending PRs. But anything else that we need to plan on discussing in this meeting? All right. Well, we can make changes as we go, but we'll start out with this Werewolf 4.7 release. We do have, let's see, this one right here. We have Werewolf 4.7 out. It was on the 12th, which I don't remember it. That was probably a Friday, right? That feels right. Um, oh no, it was earlier than that. It was a Tuesday. Great. Okay. So we have that release out. I'm glad to have it out. No complaints so far. There was one complaint inside of CIQ, but it's an internal CIQ problem in terms of like the ability to upgrade to it from the previous Werewolf Pro release. Um, but has anyone had a chance to install this, try it out? Any experiences so far outside
Yeah,
of development? Yeah.
we updated from 4.6 to or something a couple minor releases ago as part of our maintenance yesterday, and it
Awesome.
no problems, at least with Werewolf.
Excellent. Sorry for the ominous reality that it sounds like there were other problems, but
Yeah, it's
glad
just
that Werewolf did not add to them.
annoying Slurm issues that we eventually got to the bottom of.
Okay, cool. So yeah, the release is up on GitHub. It built without any real problem. I did have a few other kind of last minute things that I did, like some documentation cleanup and changelog cleanup, and Christian's cronny overlay we neglected to put into packaging. So the packages were failing to build. Um, so I fixed that up. But before I go on, yes, Tim.
Yeah, we also just added 4.7 to OpenHPC 3 point whatever the next one is. I just hit the repo and it's going to go under full testing, but I was able to get it working for the most part. Most of the issues that we upstreamed went away. So we got to slim down the recipe and got a lot of the fix me's taken out, and I am currently working on the 4.x branch. So that won't hit until probably the new year because we do a 6 month cycle on that, but
Right.
that'll hit soon. So I'll look at getting the remaining fix me's into upstream.
Awesome. Thank you so much for not only the work, but for the update on that. So this was because it's a new feature release. We have a new section in the docs for it, so you can see version 4.7 docs here. And then there's also release notes generated for this. This was, I think, the first time that I've started um, with a language model generated set of release notes, but I did a pretty extensive editing on it as well. So it was helpful to have a start on it, but not just trusting it out the gate, at least for now. So I think this release has gone relatively smoothly. I know that we wanted to have it out earlier, but the actual release process anyway, I think went pretty well. Any other comments or feedback or thoughts on how this has gone or the release in general? All right. One thing that I would like to one thing that having this be 4.7 and the next release that we're planning be 4.8, this gives us the opportunity, if we so choose, to backport just bug fixes to 4.7.1, 4.7.2, whatever, if that need arises. So I don't know that we necessarily will plan to do that, but if a bug that needs to be fixed comes up, um, we can. One thing that I did neglect to say, so just before our last just before the release was cut, Dependabot had generated 3 or 4 more Dependabot based PRs. So I got those in also for the release because it didn't bump the Golang version or anything, and all the tests still passed. So we're doing better than I think we've ever done now at keeping the kind of the dependencies up to date, and I look forward to that going forward. One thing that I've been doing recently that I think is really useful is rather than trying to merge each Dependabot PR individually, I'm just merging them all locally and then submitting a new PR that's just like cleaning up Dependabot fixes, and that cuts down on the overhead for it. So yeah, that should go continue to go well in the future. Next thing on the agenda here is making sure that everyone's aware of werewolf focused or werewolf adjacent conference participation in the near future. The ones that I have written down that I'm aware of, and I checked with Chris at OpenHPC about this earlier this morning, is we are participating in the ISC OpenHPC Provisioners BOF, and I'll be there for that. We are hosting, I think, and Rose, I'm going to look to you for more information on this, hosting a BOF just for Werewolf at Perk. Um, and then we're not formally a part of the OpenHPC BOF at Perk, but I'll be at Perk and I will hope to be there. And Chris said he also hopes to be able to attend the Werewolf BOF. So Rose, is there anything missing from that list? And otherwise, can you tell us about the current plan of the structure for the perk BOF and what we need to be doing to prepare for it?
Yes, I can as I bring that up. So maybe hold that thought for a minute
Yeah.
and we can bring up because we do have a very nice detailed plan there. Actually, let me see. It should probably just take a second. Let's see. Werewolf, birds of a feather. Let's see. Maybe I did put it on the perk. Yep. Perk 26. Okay, so we have here that myself and you, Jonathan, and Tim, and then Ian Kaufman. I don't think actually Ian is going to be able to make it. I did send him some stuff that, but I don't think he's going to be able to make it. So maybe we'll take him off of there. But if there's somebody else that's here or in the group that's going to be there, that would be good. But basically, so it's the three of us being organizers. We've got a topic. Do you want me to share this with you here?
Yeah. Or do you, why don't you share it right here?
Share the screen. Yeah. Yeah. So we've got a little breakdown, right? So we've got a topic, kind of gives a little description. So ideally we'll be talking about these topics because that's what we said we'd do. So IPv6 support and where we are at. So really the idea is that kind of a continuation from last year and an improvement from last year, you know, that we learned a little bit about what it was to have a BOF and really wanting there to be a bit more opportunity for people to kind of communicate in smaller groups. And then as the whole, less presentation-y. But we do going to be talking about IPv6, provisioning to disk. So there's a lot of new stuff that's happened. I mean, it's been a whole year. You guys have been really at work here. The REST API, we want to talk about all of those things.
Tim, will you be able to talk about the IPv6 stuff? I don't know how easy it would be to demonstrate, but maybe you have an idea for that. But what do you think?
I'm wary because I have not tested it all that much. I don't know if it's in production, but we can briefly mention it. So,
Okay.
You know, I'd be happy to reach out to George Washington University. I know that they were really active the last couple of years and wanting this to be a part of it. And perhaps Joe or one of the other guys will be there and they can do some talking about how that's benefited their environment.
By all means, if they're using it and they're willing to talk about it, I think that would be great in the BOF.
Agreed.
yeah, that'd be a much better way of speaking about it.
And
Yeah.
then there's just like breakout sessions and small groups. Can you talk about that and help me feel better by telling me that you're managing that?
Okay, I can. Yeah. Well, I'm glad that we are designating our our places here. Yes, I am happy to get with you and flesh out more the specifics. That was one of the requirements that the presenter or the organizers of PERC really wanted is there to be more breakout sessions, a little bit less presentation and more interaction among the people who are there. We had a
Hmm.
really good turnout last year. I imagine we're going to have, even as good or better this year. So time for them to kind of get together. This is just the breakdown of like, hey, this is what we think it's going to be. So if you could, when is PERC? It's not until like July, right?
Yeah, something like that.
Yeah. Yeah. So I can kind of break this down a little bit more. This is kind of like our original format that we were thinking. Welcoming obviously everybody, and you and I can both do that. Little live demonstration of the IPv6. Again, I'll reach out to George Washington University and see if they can do that. Provision to disk. So is that something that you're comfortable doing, Josh?
Yeah, I'll take the other two. That's fine.
Okay, both of
If you
those.
have another like a community person
Sure.
that can do those, that's always better. But I can take the other two for sure if otherwise.
Okay, great. Yeah. So I'll put some feelers out for that as well. And then if you know of people, Tim, you probably know of several people that are going to be there that are part of this community. So if you want to just tag them over to me, that'd be great.
Jo
Um,
Josh Burks at ASU probably has the most provision to disk stuff going on, but his is also a bit divergent from what we actually do upstream. So it m might not be the best demo for what's just in Werewolf. He actually hacks on it quite a bit.
yeah, that can be fun actually.
Yeah.
Okay, I'll reach out to Josh and see if he's going and if he is comfortable kind of presenting, and maybe he can dumb it down for the rest of us.
His thing might also not fit into one bullet of three in a 10-minute period, though.
Yeah, yeah. Um, okay, so also not just these three topics here that we just spoke about, and I'll get some more info, but the roadmap stuff. So the HA, high availability, Debian Ubuntu stuff, and where community input matters most in the development cycle.
Okay.
Yeah, if Ian's not going to be there, do you kind of like offhand know of another person who could kind of speak to the Ubuntu
There's
space?
a Debian channel or a non-Debian channel that you could try asking people in there if anyone's going to be there.
Okay, inside the Werewolf
In Slack, yeah.
and then Werewolf Slack. Okay, great. Yeah, I'll pop in there and see if anyone's going. And then the high availability, I imagine that's something you can speak to, at least like some of the ideas that you
Yeah,
have.
we'll do our best anyway.
Yeah. Yeah. And
But
that might be a great
it's a BOF,
opportunity.
right? So
Yeah,
getting
exactly.
feedback and what they want from it, it'll be a good fit for that.
Yes, exactly. Yeah, so I'll flesh out some questions here for that too. Um, okay, so yeah, interactive discussions. We have a little small group breakout time. Participants self-select different topics. That's kind of interesting because if they're going to have different topics, oh, I see. Okay, so we would kind of just like put this on the screen, perhaps like a slide presentation, and say, okay, like over here it could be the IPv6 people, over here it could be the REST API people, over here it could be the Kubernetes people, and then yeah, because I was just thinking like maybe if the three of us are going to be there, I mean, not that I would have a lot of say, but I could at least like listen and take some notes. You know what I mean, and see like which group is talking about what, and then
Mhm.
after kind of come together and have each group just kind of talk about a couple of the ideas that they came up with.
Yeah, sounds
Yeah,
great.
each group designates a note taker. Yeah, that's great, because another thing that the presenters are really adamant about this year is that we take good notes, and then there's a write-up that is required after the birds of a feather.
Yeah, we should do the stickies thing or have a place for people to send notes that we then capture and say these are ideas or requests or things that the participants in the BOF are looking for in these different categories, and then those can both feed into the notes but also the development process.
Okay, so what do you mean when you say a sticky thing?
So I'm thinking of like those corporate team building or planning things where there's a board with the different areas and then the different groups just write their ideas on a sticky and stick it up there or something like that.
Okay, you're talking
Something,
about literally sticky notes,
yeah,
like a post-it thing.
yes,
Okay, okay. I imagine there's probably a digital one,
yeah, sure.
right? Of something. Okay, so I'll kind of look into that because I am imagining it right now. Someone has to have put that together.
I mean, worst case, you can just have a Google Doc that people are putting notes into. That would be pretty easy to do.
That would be.
Okay.
Um, okay, phase two, small group synthesis. So each group reports, kind of like I was saying, on the key insights, things that they've talked about, so that you don't have to like be running around from group to group to group. And it will also give us an idea of like, what's most important to people. So I think this is going to be really, really great for us as the community, and then also the community in general, and where the focus could be. Cross-cutting themes identified. Yep. And open prioritization. Participants indicate which road items matter most. Yep, that's it. Oh yeah, that's what I'm talking about. The Zendo document.
Zenodo is like the perk system, right?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. And there's a whole thing on their website about like what the requirements are of that. So I'll take care of that.
Okay.
Here's just a couple examples of discussion prompts, for the different groups. And then of course we'll come back together and have some closing comments. Recap
All
of the
right.
themes, resources. So this is all going to need to be on a little slide, probably a slide presentation that we can also send out to all the participants if they want it.
Sure.
And then the white paper.
All right.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And
Plenty of time to do this, but just don't want to get caught off guard. I know I have a lot of things filling up the time between now and then, so it'd be easy for me to just keep putting off thinking about it and then get to the time and then feel unprepared. So thank you for the overview, Rose, and I
yeah,
think it's going to be great.
good. Me too.
All right, back to this. Any other comments or questions about perk or any other conference participation that we
Oh,
may or
I was
should?
actually curious. Are
Oh,
you sure that we're not part of the Open HPC one?
I asked Chris this morning.
Okay. And
You
he
mean
said
at perk, right?
at perk, yeah.
Yeah, so he said that the way he described it is the one at ISC is specifically a provisioners BOF, and the one at OpenHPC is just a general OpenHPC like state of the project update kind of thing, and isn't of the same structure.
Okay, cool. But we'll go to that if we
Yeah,
can.
my intent will be to attend and
Yeah.
participate in the BOF, but we aren't part of the structure of it.
Okay, great. Thank you for that clarification.
Yeah. Um, Anything else? We had another person join. Who joined? Oh, Jeremy.
Yeah, sorry about that.
Yeah, glad to have you. Um, all right. Uh, Current milestone state. Let me close some of these. So in the past, I have maintained um milestones for target releases and then also like a .x for things we want to bring into that release post release. So like a 47x, so let's say, and then a bunch of paper cut and bug type stuff that might get fixed in 47. Since we're now prioritizing like 4.7 is this release, the next release will be 4.8. That seemed a little bit counterproductive until and unless we have a real formal like backporting supporting previous releases process. So we can still do that, but I don't have milestones for them anymore. So now we have a 4.8 release, which is just like the next one that we hope to complete. There's a fair bit of stuff in there right now, 53 issues right now. And a V5 release, which is mostly right now a placeholder of things we're not planning on doing until a V5. We've talked about this in the last couple of meetings, so I won't belabor it right now. But from my vantage point, V5 is a lot about cleaning up uh, things that we have labeled tech preview and just having them be finalized, and then perhaps a chance to revamp and update the command line to make changes that we've wanted to make and make it a little bit more straightforward. But some things to take note of in there. One is that we now have feature requests that are not in a milestone. these would be good to look through. And I'm doing that, but I encourage people to do that and look through this and see if there's a feature that you would like to see targeted for a release in the nearest future. Look through this and we'll work on that. Similarly, the bugs are not necessarily in a milestone yet. 61 is actually not that bad, but I think especially with the advent of Claude and such, it would be nice to start plowing through some of this bug backlog and getting it cleaned up. So I think that that's not too far away we can just start churning through some of these bugs and getting them cleaned up. Maybe in a 4.7.1 or whatever, but maybe just in time for 4.8 also, which doesn't have a timeline associated with it right now. Historically, we've wanted to do releases every couple of months, but I have not designated 4.8 with that timeline yet. And then there's a couple of things in here that are just listed as tasks that are not associated with a given milestone right now, which maybe the difference between a feature and a bug and a task is a little bit ambiguous, but just some refactoring here. Right now, there's a couple of different places where templates exist inside of Werewolf, and they have divergent code paths that render those templates. So I'd like to try and see that get cleaned up. And then the Werewolf control upgrade process um, could use a little bit more logging, but I don't know. I'll take a look at it. But that's the current state of things in terms of how issues and PRs in the project are organized. Any questions or comments for that right now? All right. Then with that, I will move on to our last agenda item, which is to look at open pull requests that we have. We have 15 that are open uh, across both of our open milestones, and are there any that are with, yeah, there are a couple with no milestone. So let's look at those first, maybe. Oh, just one. So this is just a new thing, adding DNS to NetPlan. I expect we should just move this into the 4.8. It's just a relatively minor improvement to an existing overlay. So if there is no objection, I will do that right now. Hearing none. So that cleans up that list. But perhaps more pertinent, we have three, including that one, that don't currently have an assignee. I think this one was actually Shane working on it, and Christian has reviewed it. So I don't know. I'm gonna put both me and Christian on it because I know at CIQ we have an interest in this as well. So I at least don't want to entirely throw it on Christian, but um, I'll put both of our names on it since we have both reviewed it in the past. So that leaves these. Um, what's going on with this one? So this is like the ability to manage um, VMs with the power commands, right? So I haven't looked at this at all. If no one else takes it, I can. But anyone else have cycles to look into this? Okay. For now, I will put my name next to it. I'm sure Christian will ask me to look at it otherwise anyway. And there we go. Filter updates and adding DNS to NetPlan. I think I'm gonna. So NetPlan is Debian, right? Or Ubuntu. Let's see if I can assign this to Ian. I cannot. Maybe I need to fix that. Um, and there's no Debian or Ubuntu in OpenHPC, right? So I won't throw it, Tim, at you either unless you're interested. I think for now, I will leave this unassigned and see if maybe we can get Ian added as a developer, and then we could assign Ubuntu type stuff to him. See if he's actually willing to do that.
I support having Ian added as a developer.
Any objection to that, Jeremy? All right. Then I will reach out to him and see if he is open to it, and then if so, we can start assigning things to him. Awesome. Um, so Tim, I see your question. Do we want to do a bunch of bug fixes on the 4.7 series and do dot releases? I would love that. I think that's a great idea. Um, how would you feel about actually just making a 4.7.1 and moving some bugs into it?
Yeah, that's what I was thinking.
Okay, great. Then I will do that. Um, let's go here and here. Oh,
Things that would be hopefully non-breaking.
yeah. Um, there. Redundant description is redundant. So what I'd like to see then for this, because the reason this has been an impediment in the past is we don't want to block feature development, but we don't want to let feature development creep into a dot release. So what I'd like to do then is go ahead and create a v47x branch at the v470 um, tag and then backport bug fixes into it, which sounds worse than it is. But I'd like to actually try and do that in this case then to make a V471 clean against V470, but then allow for feature development on main. Um, any any concerns with that, or does that sound all right to people?
The other option would be to do the bug fixes against 4.7.1 and then forward port them to main. I don't
Sure,
know, I don't have experience on which way is better or not, but that's an alternative as well.
that's fair.
Backporting might be the more sustainable way of doing it and just cherry pick them.
Then what I'll ask is for TSC members especially, um, but really anyone in the call to review this list of bugs, these open bugs right here. And here's the link in the Zoom chat if you really want. But it's just, it's just a GitHub issue filter. And look for bugs that you think can and should be fixed in a V471. Let's set a timeline on this. And if all the bugs that we assign to it aren't fixed by this date, then we just tag the release and roll them into a new one. What would we like to see as we will put out a bug fix release on for this? Any recommendations? When was perk again? Looking at my calendar. So perk is the 26th of July. So, what if we just set like a 10th of July? That's a Friday as a deadline for this, and then we can have like a bug fix release out in time for perk. Does that sound okay? If we get a bunch of bugs fixed in there,
I was gonna say you could push it up to the 24th if you really wanted to.
like push it further out.
If you want, yeah.
Yeah,
I does, you just don't want to basically be able to do an announcement for a new release with bug fixes in before you go out.
sure. Yeah. Well, we can push it if we get up to it and we are like, oh no, we've got these more things, but we can also just do more bug fix releases too. And if we get a bunch of things fixed, then uh and we want to get it out to people and cut a release, we can do that and then just keep working and then announce whatever we have in time for perk as well. All right. Well, that is, oh, that is all I have on the agenda. Anything else that we need to discuss before we go? All right. Quick one today. Thanks, everyone. And do look through the bugs. I think I'm actually going to take that list and post it directly into Slack, maybe both development and general, and put that to the community as well. Say, hey, look through this. If there are bugs that you would like to see fixed in a 4.7.1, let us know, and we'll try and get those into the milestones. All right. Thanks, everyone. See you soon.